what was your CGPA in 100 level? Like at the end of the year, at the end of the semester, what was your CGPA there?
It was 7.
It was 7.
Mm.
Okay. So at the end of 200 level, your CGPA, what was it?
It was still 7.
7.0. Hey, wonderful.
Yeah.
So basically, 100, 200, 300, 7.0. Wonderful.
When I finished with the same GPA, I learned that I was the 4th person in UI, but the first female. Yeah,
but the first female in the history of the school.
Oh, 71 years at the time I graduated.
Oh my God. Ofure, amazing. If you could see me now, I'm literally bowing down to you. Wow.
Come on.
Tell me now, you graduated school with, what was your CGPA when you left, when you graduated?
7.0 over 7.0.
So wait,
I have to convert.
Wait, don't convert. Wait a minute. So you got 7 points. That's the perfect score.
Yeah, apparently.
Do you have 2 heads? How did you get from UI to Stanford?
Oh, interesting question. I mean, the long and short is I applied. Then I also reached out to like the grad coordinator to tell her that, you guys admitted me, but you see, I can't pay. I mean, dollar to naira, if you do the conversion, it's so much. So she's like, unfortunately, we don't really have funding, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh God. So anyways, and I mean, my mom was involved, so there was some heavy like prayers.
Nigerian mother. The mountain must fall.
I mean, once they commit into the hands of God,
forget it will work.
So, I know. So like less than a month later, after like after they gave me the offer, I think I was about to eat. It was very late in the night. That was like April 14 or thereabout.
So this process had taken like 6 months.
It's a very April. 6 months.
It's more than 6 months.
We started in May. I mean, that was when I started.
Oh, May. Oh, that's almost a year.
Yeah, it was like a year. So
okay.
So that night, April 14, and April 15 is usually like the deadline to kind of accept your admission, whether you want the admission or not. And it was shot a day to some deadline. And I was still trying to apply for, I remember that night, I was still typing up my request for like a scholarship that I was applying to. And then I was about to eat because I just finished writing like the last essay and reviewing it. I'm like, okay, I should send. So before I hit send, I was like, oh, let me eat. And then carried my phone out because I mean, you have to eat and watch movies. My Gmail, like my notification, I just saw like graduate support offer or something like that from like Stanford. I'm like, oh. Read the email. I'm like, oh, we're pleased to offer you something. You'll be a teaching assistant, but then we'll fund your tuition, and then you get some stipend, and blah blah blah. I'm like, ooh, okay.
Hallelujah.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
And then how like their professors are so approachable. It's sometimes I'm like, is this real?
Sure.
Like so approachable. So there was a time I felt I was supposed to write a test because, like I said, one of the courses we had like 4 tests, and I felt ill that day, like the morning of the test, and I just couldn't. And then I mailed him. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was at the hospital this morning, and blah blah blah. He's like, okay, don't worry. You don't have to write the test today. You can write it tomorrow. So flexible. So yeah.
Really?
Well,
a Nigerian lecturer would never.
Nah, carry over.
Never.
better go there with ambulance. So.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
wow.
So and then they're also like really open to feedback. I also never learned how to calculate CGPA, but in my case, I didn't need to know.
Oh, see flex! Oh my God, I like that. You graduated school with, what was your CGPA when you graduated?
7.0 over 7.0.
So wait,
I have to convert.
Wait, don't convert. Wait a minute. So you got 7 points. That's the perfect score.
Yeah, apparently.
Do you have 2 heads? How did that even? Okay, so I've spoken to Okay, I spoke to Tone. I can't remember Tone's CGPA, but the guy I spoke to, he had a 6.6.
Okay, cool.
He had a 6.6. I think he graduated this year. I really can't remember. It was actually from the 2018 set.
2018? No, 2018 was my set.
2018 was your set? Maybe 2019. Yeah. I know he was the best in the history department. What's his name? Martins Isaac.
Oh, Martins. I know Martin. Martin's my Gino.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So he.
I don't even know his. But he was always in the library. Like he was.
You know, he actually told me he was always in the library. He said
that's
that.
That's why I met him.
So you guys know yourselves.
That's why I met him.
Wow. He told me he was always in the library. Like sometimes he spends days in the library. And I'm like, oh wow. But I guess at the end of the day, everything played out well. Because now you guys are part of like an exclusive club, First Class Students United. So I'm just in the simplest terms and in the shortest way possible, how did you do it? 7.0 over 7.0. If I had that, oh god. So how did it happen?
Okay. Do you want like the short story?
Yeah. If you could, the short, just give me like a summary.
Okay, so coming into UI, I just like knew I wanted a first class. I was just like, in fact, I thought it was going to be hard to get a first class in UI because before, I think the week I got in or something, I saw like UI's bulletin, and then they do this thing every year where they release like first class students. So I mean, I saw that bulletin, I'm like, oh my gosh, it must take a lot of work to have a first class in UI. Can I do it? Let me try. So I'm in my first semester of 100 level. I was really hardworking. Like I just wanted that first class. I'm like, I have to get a first class in UI. UI is hard, but let me just try it. So. And another big push for me was that from my WAEC in high school, I was so serious WAEC period because I'm like, let me just see like what I can get from WAEC. And when WAEC turned out to be really good, like I had like I think 6 A's, I said, okay, can I transfer like that same energy I used to study for WAEC to study in UI, and let me just see where it gets me. So first semester 100 level, after exams and everything, when our results came out, I'm like, oh, I didn't get any B. That's amazing. In fact, like I said, it bust my head. I'm like, okay, I didn't get any B's. Can we now take this same energy from first semester and apply it through like all semesters? I'm like, it means that I would probably have to sacrifice a lot of things because I worked really hard in 100 level.
Okay. So let me ask you, what was your CGPA in 100 level? Like at the end of the year, at the end of the semester, what was your CGPA there?
It was 7.
It was 7. Okay. So the 200 level now. Let's talk 200 level. You know, you said you had to sacrifice a lot, and what exactly are these things you sacrifice? That's another question I wanted to ask. What are these things you sacrifice?
I mean, I'm not like typically an outdoor person, but I mean, there are a lot of fun things on campus that one can engage in. Sometimes even sacrificing like church fellowship or, hang out with friends, or sometimes you just want to be lazy and it's not like you're lazy or anything. Sometimes you don't just want to do anything. So things like that, because sometimes I just want to sleep, but I'm like, you have to study, that kind of thing. So sacrificing sleep, sacrificing rest, sacrificing, hanging out with friends, because I know I turned down a number of things. And sometimes to campus activities like, I think there was a time I was on like debate team, L&D team. There was a time I was, like there's so many things that they'll say, oh, come and do on campus. I'm like, I don't know if I can, that kind of thing. So just things like that. But nonetheless, I was still pretty much involved in at least organizing events, because that's my thing. I really, really, really like organizing stuff. Okay. Anything organization centered, I could find time for that.
Okay. So at this course, your course was computer science, am I right?
Yeah, computer science.
Okay, so 100 level, you had gotten into school, you knew the hang of things, at least you're a full student now, you know how things work. So 200 level. Talk to me about 200 level. How was 200 level for you?
200 level was, I think, pretty much. Do I even still remember? That was 2016. I mean, it was good in the sense that I was sort of settled.
Okay.
And 200 level was also the time that somehow people got to know that there's this baby in computer science that is on a 7.0 GP. So I think 200 level, there was some kind of respect that I started getting. There was this vibe I started getting from people like, oh my gosh. So that kind of thing. And 200 level also had new students because we had these students in class. So our class got bigger. And it was just like people coming to, oh, you're offering that kind of thing, you know, wanting to meet you, wanting to make acquaintance with you. So I felt like 200 level, my circle was becoming like bigger. Like a lot of people were approaching me for one thing or the other. So that was more of 200 level for me. I started helping people out, like teaching, just, oh, could you explain this thing to me? So I started like doing more of that in 200 level. And
so basically you had become a superstar.
No, not superstar.
Okay, like a star. You were like a star. Look,
I was just known, you know, like pre-select. Yeah.
Okay. She said pre-select. Okay. So at the end of 200 level, your CGPA, what was it?
It was still 7.
7.0. Hey, wonderful. Okay, 300 level now. I don't know. I don't want you to stress yourself and try to remember, but just give me a summary. 300 level. How was 300 level?
300 level. We only spent half of 300 level in school because the other half we had to go on IT. So 300 level, courses were tougher. I mean, I thought it was going to get easier because we're not going to be doing stats and math anymore. Stats and math were like, okay, maybe not stats, but math was a big challenge for me. In fact, I had help. Yeah, I had help from like one of my classmates. I think it was probably because of him that I probably had an A in my 200 level math courses because he really helped me. And I mean, I can't say his name so Olawale was just he was just.
What's his full name so you can give him a shout out, a proper shout out?
Okay, Olawale Ahmed.
Shout out to Olawale Ahmed.
Yeah. Okay. So he was, and I think everyone knew him as like the math person because he was really good. Okay. But he was also a CS major, so he was good. Then 300 level, that's when I started doing like pure CS classes, and I just thought, I mean, since it's not math and stats, I would probably pull through. But it seemed like these courses were made to like they were made to drill us. So there were a lot of courses I took in 300 level that I think I fumbled at the beginning, probably failed some tests, and I'm like, it looks like CGP is going to decline if I continue in this. So I just had to be serious towards like the second half of the first quarter of that's after a test, and after realizing that I didn't do well. In fact, there's a particular test that I think I probably didn't answer anything in that test because I didn't know Jack. I was just looking at what's going on here. So I just like really managed to scale through and studied for the exam. Like, this exam can't fail me, and then end up getting like a 71 or 72. That's almost like 70. So that was 300 level.
That was 300 level. Okay.
I still finished with, although 300 level, I finished with like a 6.9, but that was because there was some like error in marking for one of my scripts or something.
Oh, there was error in marking.
I mean, I felt there was an error in marking, so I had to like submit it for a regrade, something like that. So. Oh,
okay. So after the regrade, did you get back to 7.0?
The regrade was done towards the end of 400 level because this thing, they take time. So.
Oh, okay. But that means you went back to 7.0. So basically, 100, 200, 300, 7.0. Wonderful. Okay, so 400 level now. I don't know how many years did you spend? How many years was your? So
it was
a 4-year course. So you said you were doing pure CS. That's computer science, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so at 100, 200 level, you might have to do some additional courses, but at that point, you had dropped all those ones and focused on your proper. Okay, so 400 level now, the final year. Did you ever feel, before you tell me about 400 level, did you ever feel pressure? Like you had done 7.0, 7.0, 7.0. Did you ever, at that point, did you feel pressure like, I have to continue. This is the final lap. I have to continue. I have to do all I can. I don't want distractions or anything. Did you ever feel that kind of pressure?
Definitely. Like the pressure was there because there was, from home, you had your family telling you, oh, you can do this. From school, you had your friends, trying to cheer you on, like, in fact, I think from 400 level, some people had started calling me BGS.
Best gravity student.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. There was this kind of bar that was set, and it was like I had to meet it somehow. So 400 level, and also I went on IT like end of 300 level.
Okay.
So it meant I had seen how the industry was and how, I can either like work really hard at school and maybe not focus on industry stuff and then get into industry and start learning everything from ground zero. Or, school, it teaches you something, but not everything you need. So maybe I shouldn't like solely focus on school. Maybe I should just start like developing my programming skills and everything that I would really need for like industry. So those were like the two options I had at the beginning of 400 level, either to focus on school and just finish through, or start like building, maybe not focus so much and start building like industry skills. So that was a dilemma for me in 400 level. But one of my we call it buddies from internship, like he was the one assigned to me because I worked at Conga for my internship. So he was the one assigned to me to like put me through industry practices in Conga. So he just told me that really, you're almost done. You probably want to build industry skills, but there's still a whole lifetime for that. Just you've started something in school, just go and finish it, no matter how like hard it's going to be for this final. So just go and finish it. So I'm like, okay, sure.
And you just
I went back.
You just went back and focused on everything.
Yeah, just finished. But towards the end of, I think 400 was supposed to finish in December, but in November there was some kind of strike. Okay. So I know I hadn't like done my project. There were so many things I hadn't done that time, and the strike was just because it's like strike towards the end, and I don't know. I just relaxed really because I'm like, can't stress. The strike was from November, December, I think January. They finally called it off in February, and then when they called it off, they're like, "Oh, we're giving you guys 3 weeks to do your project, and then you come at the fan." I'm like, I haven't done project. I haven't written any line of code. What am I supposed to do? Yeah, but I don't even know how I did it in 3 weeks. Just wrote because I was working on like AI stuff, NLP. NLP is not something that they teach at undergrad level. Maybe other schools abroad, maybe they do, but it was something I was learning everything on my own, like from ground zero, from Coursera, from Udacity. And like piecing everything together it was so challenging. But I don't know. I think in those 3 weeks, I managed to do something to get help from like someone who like really knew NLP and data science and everything. So he just put me through some things. And in 3 weeks, we had something. It wasn't much, but we had something.
You had something. Okay. So what does NLP stand for?
Oh, natural language processing. So it's basically how in summary,
machine learning, all this.
Yeah, how to understand human like speech or something or text. The way Alexa, Siri, and all those things.
Okay.
They're all kind of built from, or they all fall under natural language processing, because when you say, "Oh, Siri, play this for me," or play Brown Skin Girl, it's like, okay. He's able to, or they're able to like translate words and then do what exactly you wanted them to. So it's understanding speech, it's understanding text. That's maybe reading through an article or something and trying to maybe generate a summary or something. Just understanding speech text.
So 400 level, all this happened, the strike, everything, you defended your project. At the end, the CGPA was still 7.0.
5%, yeah.
Was still 7.0. So I have to ask, this has to be some type of record. I don't know if it's been done before, but this has to be some type of record.
Yeah. Well, in UI, it wasn't exactly a record, because 2 years before me in the same computer science, one of my mentors. That's Daniel. He finished with a 7.0. So from the beginning, he was my he was basically the person I was trying to emulate. Like, oh, if he could do it, then I can. I mean, yeah, he's really smart. Like, I mean, even engaging him in a conversation, you know, that, oh, this guy knows his stuff. So he's really, really smart. And I was just like, but then I know he's smart, but if he can do it, I can also like work hard and try to follow suit. So
okay.
He finished 2 years before me with a 7.0 from computer science. And then when I finished with the same GPA, I learned that I was the fourth person in UI, but the first female. Yeah.
But the first female in the history of the school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 71 years at the time I graduated.
Oh my God. Ofure, amazing. If you could see me now, I'm literally bowing down to you. Wow.
Come on.
No. You see, one of the reasons why I started this series, why I started looking out for first class and everything, was because I just knew that stories like this had to be told. That's number one. And in one way or the other, somebody could be inspired. See what you just said now. There was somebody before you, 2 years before you. You heard the story and you were like, you know what? This is something I could do. So imagine this interview now, hundreds, thousands of people are going to watch it. And imagine somebody in school who's struggling and he hears the story. It's going to inspire. I always like excellence. Like I said, man, if I had the first class, Abisola Alawadi, first class. If I now had a 7.0 from 100,
come on, they would hear.
You will not hear what. Nobody will hear what anything, man. Oh, wow.
I know.
Man. Okay, so your folks at home, your parents already knew that you were on this path. You already knew that this is where you were headed.
They suspected.
Okay, they suspected. So
they knew, but they didn't know like the magnitude. They didn't know
exactly. They didn't know. So you were the best biology student of your set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so did you guys have a ceremony?
Like my family?
No, not your family. Like the school. Was there a ceremony?
Yeah. I mean, it was thankfully before COVID.
Okay, so were you given a guard of honor?
God.
I think you should have been given a guard of honor, man. Like with policemen and soldiers walking side by side. I'm just. But when they called your name, and you know how I don't know how it works in UI, but you know, they usually do the announcement. So and so. They then call first class. They then call Ofure. Please, I don't want to mispronounce your surname, but Ofure pronounce your surname for me.
Don't worry, it's fine. Ebomielen.
Ebomielen. Okay, Ofure Ebomielen, best graduating student, 7.0. Wow, how did you feel at that point? Like your parents were, I assume, were in the audience.
Upstairs.
They were upstairs. Yeah. How did you feel?
I mean, it was kind of overwhelming for me at that point. But before then, because our convocation was in November, and I think results came out in May or so. So there was like a 6 month. So in the 6 months, I think I had already like soaked up all the excitement and everything. When I just came in November, it was just like the official thing that had to be done. But it wasn't news anymore. Like everyone knew, at least my friends and everything. Maybe parents didn't know, but I think everyone that was supposed to be convoking in UI that day, they already knew that there was. So it was nice. I mean, it was nice to go up there, shake the VC, give a speech, blah. But the euphoria sort of had
one up at that time.
Friends the high, that time, that period. So yeah, it was like, okay, this is the official thing we have to do,
Okay.
But it was all the same. It was really exciting because after the convocation ceremony, because there were obviously they're going to be journalists at the event, so it started like the news just blew up everywhere. Some people were telling me that, oh my gosh, check Google for your like Google. And it was just crazy that period because the news was everywhere, like, oh, something new, I bet graduating, blah blah. So I think the high like came after the convocation ceremony, not exactly at the ceremony itself. It came after. When like everyone was like calling in, congratulating, some people were even reaching out to my mom that I saw your daughter in the
I can imagine.
It was I can imagine. And then my mom was so happy, like she was so happy. She's like, oh my gosh, you've done me proud. It was really.
Afterwards, now you had achieved this great feat by every means. You had done what you needed to do, and everything. So how did the journey? How did you get from UI to Stanford?
Oh, interesting question. I mean, the long and short is I applied.
Okay.
But I think after, like I said, it was first in May that my results came out.
Okay.
So one of the UI alumna, the guy that graduated from UI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's he reached out to me, and then he's like, with this year's CGP and everything, you should apply to like schools in America. I mean, you're studying computer science, you have a good shot at a PhD or a master's. I mean, grad school education from is a reputable school in America, so just give it a shot. So he called me. I can't remember if it was call or WhatsApp, but it was one of them. And then he was just telling me, yeah, you should apply. You should write your GRE and try to just apply, write your GRE, and let's see where it goes from there. And he was like, I'm so certain you will get into like someplace good. So after that call in May, by June or thereabout, he put me in this GRE group, and then I started, just having conversations in the group, asking questions, and then I started studying for GRE. Maybe not too serious because I was also working like on my NYC. When did I start NYC? Yeah, I think I started NYC in like June, July. Okay. So yeah, after camp, I know, you have a place of primary assignment. I was just there working 9 to 5, staying in the office beyond 5, not because of work or anything, but because traffic.
I remember you were working on the island. I remember we had that discussion.
Yeah.
So,
just used maybe part of that time to like after office hours to study, and by I think ending of October I wrote my GRE. But before then I had started researching schools that I wanted to go to, schools that were like top notch in computer science. So just applied to a couple of them. That was by December I had written my GRE and my TOEFL, then applied. Sometime my last application, probably December 15, had some of my lecturers in school write me letter of recommendations, had a lot of people review my SOP, just trying to craft
SOP. What does SOP mean?
Statement of purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a general lingo. If you're applying to grad school, it's called SOP. So, yeah, so by December I just submitted everything, and fingers crossed. And I think Stanford didn't reach out to me till like February, like mid-February. They're like, oh yeah, we considered the application, we'd like to move forward with it, but no promises yet, that kind of thing.
No promises yet?
Okay, no, let me rephrase. I applied for a PhD because I mean, throughout that application period, I was told that if you want funding, you do PhD. Okay. If you do masters, you might get an admission, but it probably won't be funded.
Okay.
So I mean, I applied across board for PhD because that's what I was told. I wasn't really sure I wanted to be a PhD because I wasn't even sure like what area of research I wanted to focus on. But nonetheless, they said PhD. I applied for PhD. I mean, I was just following the rules. Not the rules, but like what people said.
Okay.
And by February, they reached out to me that, oh, yeah, we considered the application. It was good, but we don't really think we want to move your application to the master's program instead. But it's not, you have to note that the master's program is not usually funded. And yeah, but we'll just move it to the master's committee to review it. So about a month later, they sent me another email that, oh, congrats, you've been admitted to the master's program, but also note that the master's program is not usually funded, blah blah blah. If you want to do you accept or something, it's Stanford. Should I? Yes, I mean, the first step is to accept. So yeah, I did accept, and I accepted. And it was now like the issue of funding because I needed money. Stanford is not cheap. So I started like reaching out, trying to see which professor I could reach out to because you can get funded through like teaching assistantship or research assistantship. So I reached out to no, I don't even think I reached out. I just started like compiling their names and everything. Then I also reached out to like the grad coordinator to tell her that, oh, you guys admitted me, but you see, I can't pay. I mean, dollar to naira, if you do the conversion, so much. So she's like, oh, unfortunately, we don't really have funding, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, God. So anyways, and I mean, my mom was involved, so there was some heavy like prayers.
Nigerian mother, the mountain must fall.
I mean, once they commit to the hands of God,
forget it will work.
So, I know. So so like less than a month later, after like after they gave me the offer, I think I was about to eat. It was very late in the night. That was like April 14 or thereabout.
So this process had taken like 6 months.
It's a very April. 6 months.
That's more than 6 months.
It's already May. I mean, that was when I
May. Oh, that's almost a year.
Yeah, it was like a year. So yeah. So that night, April 14, and April 15 is usually like the deadline to kind of accept your admission, whether you want the admission or not. And it was shot a day to some deadline, and I was still trying to apply for. I remember that night I was still typing up my request for like a scholarship that I was applying to. And then I was about to eat because I just finished writing like the last essay and reviewing it. I'm like, okay, I should send. So before I hit send, I was like, oh, let me eat, and then carried my phone out because I mean you have to eat and watch movies. my Gmail, like my notification, I just saw like graduate support offer or something like that from like Stanford. I'm like, oh. Read the email. I'm like, oh, we're pleased to offer you something. You'll be a teaching assistant, but then we'll fund your tuition, and then you get some stipend and blah blah blah. I'm like, ooh, okay.
Hallelujah.
Okay.
Hallelujah. Oh.
It was crazy that night. Like I called my mom, but it was like really no. I think she peaked. Yeah, she peaked, and then she was almost crying on the phone. She was like,
wow.
Oh, I knew God was going to do it. This is just a miracle. And I mean, I was almost like, cause I wasn't staying with my mom then, because I mean we stay on the mainland. I work on the island and can't be doing long distance. So I was on the island that time.
Yeah.
So I called her. I'm like, oh mom, see what I just saw, and she was just so happy. And then I called one of my friends that I had, I called one of my friends in Stanford. So I'm like, yo, see, I just got funding. And then he was so happy because like some hours before then, we were on a call. He was like telling me how to write that essay and what I should how I should phrase some things. And he's also in Stanford, so he was just telling me that. And just like some 6 hours later, I called him again. Said,
wow.
I don't think I need it again. I just got this, and then he was so happy. And that was Ayo Dada. So
shout out to Ayo Dada.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I throughout the whole thing. And
so let's talk about life now. The what's it called? The scholarship is in the bag. You're a grad student now. So what are the differences? I know this is a cheek on the nose question. But what are the let's do that as quickly as possible. What are the differences now between studying here, by here I mean Nigeria, and where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, so like I think like 3 days ago, because when you come here, you meet people of your type. So I was talking with one of my Nigerian friends, and I'm like, if I came to Stanford for undergrad or more, if I don't be beast by now, I was like, I would have been a beast by now because it's intense. So normally in school in Nigeria, we take like maybe 8, 9, 10, depends on your department. So we put up to 14 courses per semester. And you find that at the end, you're trying to cram a lot of things into one semester. You don't really learn anything else. It's like trying to chase like, how do you call it again? 2 birds with, you lose both. So, but here, I just took 2 courses last semester and I was drained.
The whole semester, just 2 courses? Hey!
And I was
wow.
Because it was just a lot. It was like every week you do assignments and you have deadlines, and the assignments are not you just maybe Google the 30 minutes you're done. Assignments are what you work on for like 20 hours, and 20 hours like during the week. You have to seek help, go for office hours, meet teaching assistants to help you, and all these deadlines, and you read for tests. I had like 4 tests in one particular course. 4 tests like throughout the semester. I had 4 tests, 7 assignments, like all through the semester, just one course.
Wow.
So there's no how I can finish after 10 weeks and not know the course content. I have to know it. Like it's so rigorous. I have to know it. And the second course, it was like a project-based course. They put us in groups, and then we had to meet and develop something, like build a bot or something for content moderation. So there's no how. Like I finished from it was trust and safety engineering or something. I finished from the course, and I was just so knowledgeable about a lot of things regarding moderation on social media platforms and things like that. So it was, compared to Nigerian side of vacation, these people they're super intense. So I came here and I wanted to just start doing like grad level courses, because I felt like I had taken all the undergrad, because I did computer science. I was like, I've taken all the undergrad courses. I don't need to do undergrad courses again. I just want to move straight into my grad level courses. I start taking machine learning, deep learning, AI, blah, blah, blah. And then I got here, and then one of my friends was like, you might just want to look at the foundations again. Like, just, like, no, I don't want to do found. I've done them in Nigeria. I know them. And it's like, you might just want to look into the foundations again. So anyways, I didn't end up taking like courses I wanted to take. I ended up doing foundations, and it was foundations I was struggling with. So I just imagine if I had done if I'd come in straight and go into AI, go into deep learning, I would have probably lost it by 3rd week, because it's not like I'm underestimating myself or anything. I probably wouldn't just have been able to cope, because the foundation here is taught so, like I said, so rigorously that you can't afford to not know it, and you need it for like the next. It's like everything is built up. This course this semester is built on the next one. So things like that. So that's what I really like about like the education here. And there's a lot of group work. So you learn how to work in teams even before you go to industry. You already, and sharing work amongst yourself, like you do this, you do that, and everyone is held accountable for their piece of work.
For their own piece.
Like,
okay.
You know how like in Nigeria, I'm not trying to diss or anything. I know in Nigeria, but you know how there's group work and then only one person sometimes does the work.
Do the work.
Yeah, exactly. But here you are giving this, and you can't even afford to. Like, you better do your work. So that was another thing that was like really cool about like education here, and then how like the professors are so approachable. It's sometimes I'm like, is this real?
Sure.
Like, so approachable. So there was a time I felt I was supposed to write a test, because like I said, one of the courses we had like 4 tests, and I felt ill that day, like the morning of the test, and I just couldn't. And then I mailed him. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I was at the hospital this morning, and blah, blah, blah. He's like, okay, don't worry, you don't have to write the test today, you can write it tomorrow. So flexible. So yeah.
Really?
So,
a Nigerian lecturer would never.
Nah, carry over.
Never.
better go there with ambulance.
Oh wow!
Wow. So and then they're also like really open to feedback. So like the first test we had for like one of the courses, I think it was a 1 hour 30-minute test, and they gave us extension for 2 hours. But you see, people just wrote that, come on, that 1 hour is not enough for the test, 1.5 hours is not enough for the test, that they had to do some thinking, that the questions are the kind of questions that they give us for homework, and then we have to spend a week and still do like group discussions, and then they expect us to do the same thing under pressure in 2 hours. And no, it's not enough. Like, we want more time, or you lessen the intensity of the questions. And then lecturers actually responded. In the next test, we had 36 hours to do the test. Imagine from like 2 hours to just give us a 36-hour window.
Are you kidding me?
Think all you want to think, right? You see people want time to think. Okay, we're giving you time to think. You have 36 hours, but they said it's still like a 2-hour test. Like, it's something you can finish under 2 hours. Although that wasn't true actually, because it took more than 2 hours. But just give us 36 hours. Like, do whatever you want to do, and it's not like it's supervised. Like, you don't have to log into Zoom and be like turning your camera and be doing. Like, you can just take it home as per normal. But then they trust that you will do it yourself, and because there's this honor code thing about integrity, about your work.
Wow.
Adhere to these rules. And then the next 2 tests, they give us 48 hours. That's 2 days. So you open your test at like midnight.
2 days. You said 48 hours, right?
Yeah. So just open it for you.
Nigerian lecturer just left the room. They just left the room and turned off their system, turned off their computer, and walked away.
Like, no way. It's like 2
Wow.
hours. You guys do it whatever you want to do.
Wow.
So yeah, so like they listen, they take feedback, and they'll be asking you, please tell us what is wrong, how can we improve? You know, mid-quarter, they're like, oh, mid-quarter evaluation, how can we improve? And then they take all that feedback, and just really nice. Like the course I'm TAing, because I am a teaching assistant, and that's how like I'm getting my tuition paid and everything. So even the course I'm TAing, you have like students coming to meet you that I'm so sorry, power went out in my area, or that time when there was some Texas issue. Can I have an extension? And you're like, oh sure, you can have an extension. Oh sure. I mean, it's just very flexible. Like people just, so it's not like, oh, we want people to slack or anything. It's just that we're understanding. We're like, it's not like situations are not equal. Sometimes this person might be having a challenge, sometimes mental, and you know how mental health is taken very seriously over here. So once you just say, oh, some people said, oh, I had COVID vaccine, I'm not feeling fine, can I have an extension? I'm like, oh, sure, take an extension.
Oh wow, this is really interesting, right? Okay, so I've heard you say all these things, and like I said, they're very interesting. So what are your own plans now? Like, I know that's something everybody would like to know. You're doing this now. How long is this course going to last for?
It's supposed to be a 2-year master's.
A 2-year master's. You started in January this year?
Yeah.
Okay, so January. So you're going to be there 2023?
I shouldn't reach 2023, like end of 2022.
2022. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So what are your... Depends on how everything...
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I said, it's flexible. So there's no, oh, you must finish by this time. It's like, okay, no, just take your time, but don't exceed like maybe 6 semesters or something. I'm not really sure.
Oh, okay. So what are your own plans now? Knowing that this is knowing all that you know now and how everything is going. So if you can't share, please.
Yeah. So plans. I mean, I came in here thinking that okay, when I'm done, I would most likely continue with a PhD or something. But I think I kind of want to explore industry first, because Stanford is like at the heart of it's basically in San Francisco, and it's like very near the Bay Area, the Silicon
Valley. Okay.
I kind of want to explore how the industry works here, and just maybe take on a job or something after like my master's program, or even within like the master's do an internship, and then so maybe I'm not sure yet, maybe software engineering, maybe network and security. I'm just like really open, because like I said, I've come here now and I'm seeing a lot of new things. Before I'm like, okay, I want to do this and that, but you're like, okay, this other thing seems like really interesting. So I'm just like really open-minded, but yeah, I just kind of want to explore working first. Then if I see like an area, because PhD is research and it's research in one area, and you have to be particularly interested in that area. So if I see something that I'm like, oh, I need to get to the bottom of this, I can like go ahead and do a PhD. But if not, I might just like take on the career path after. Oh,
okay. So I like the fact that you're open-minded. Like you've gone through all this stuff that you've gone through with the experience you have now, like knowing, but you're still open-minded. You still want to learn and see other things. A lot of people don't have that. Sorry?
People here are very open to learning. Like you see, I know we're saying something, but for the course I'm teaching, it's web applications, basically like full stack development. And then you see people from, normally in like in Nigeria, you see people who coding, maybe just from computer science and engineering. But here you have people from, someone said she finished from biology and she's doing a master's in, and she's, you see people from business school taking a class, people from biology, people from maybe some people even, like they're a diverse range of people. Everyone just, taking classes here and there. You see people in engineering taking classes in psychology, people in psychology, wanting to learn from maybe medicine. You just see them everywhere. Like I think one of my friends is doing African American studies and computer science.
Oh,
So
wow.
people just combine like different things. You see them doing a minor in international relations and a major in computer science. You just see them like they're just very open to learning. So there's no, oh, I'm computer science and that's all, or I'm in psychology, I don't want to hear about coding or something. My friend in psychology that's doing a PhD also took some, I think, some CS classes, or he has taken some CS classes because they have to know how to analyze their data and everything. So people, you see psychologists that are very good programmers, and then you see people TA courses, TA, that's teaching assistants. Teaching assistants for courses that they haven't even taken before, but they want to learn. So like learning challenges they don't scare people away. Like people here are drawn towards learning challenges, and it's just amazing. There's some things I run away from because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're hard, I don't want to do this. But you just see people, let's do this. And you're like, I'm not scared. You're not scared. But then seeing them doing it, and then you know that they don't have two heads, you're like, oh, why can't I do it too? So even before I came here, I wasn't like super into like software engineering like that, because I'm like, it was challenging for me, and I felt like that was in my area of expertise and that was in my niche, and I wasn't a natural at coding or anything. But just coming here and seeing people who are not even CS majors doing stuff, you're like, come on, sis. So yeah, that's one thing I really like. You just have to be open-minded here, and the jobs there's many jobs that like job opportunities here. So it's not, you don't want to restrict yourself. You want to be as open as possible, so that when a job comes along and maybe you find yourself like a good fit, you can always just apply. But if you like restrict yourself too much and say, oh, I'm only for this area, then you might find it a bit, maybe not hard because there are always jobs, but yeah, you just want to be there. Yeah.
You want to be there where it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So out of everything you said now, not at one point did you mention that, I want to take my knowledge and come and develop my country.
No. Let's have it.
Oh my God. Oh.
No, I know, like it's fine. People say, "Oh, don't you want to go back to your country and everything?" But I don't think that even after 2 years here, I would have like the knowledge and skills I need to come and. I feel like you have to be in the system. You have to know the in and outs, like why it works the way it works. And 2 years here is not just enough to know that and then return to your country. It's not. And I also feel, okay, maybe not that, but yeah, maybe sometime down the line, maybe, or down the years, maybe, but not that I want to finish and go back. No. I mean, we just ban Bitcoin and crypto.
No. We did ban the official statement.
Wait,
we did ban.
So that's why
Bitcoin.
So
No. Oh, so it's that country now. You see people. So it's that country now. No, you see, the official statement is we didn't ban Bitcoin. We are trying to regulate the trade. Idea.
So you see, it's just. You probably just want to see yourself like in a better place.
I can't imagine how proud your parents would be now, or your brothers or your sisters. I can't imagine how proud they will be. Do you understand?
You know how like I met Isari like last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I sent the picture to like my family group chat, and then like, oh my gosh, the kind of people you're meeting. I'm like, oh my god, like it was so crazy. I'm like, and I sent to my friends, and then you know how like 5 of them sent me back like, oh my gosh, you're living the life I want to live right now. Like, so it's just really nice, like the way this place exposes you to like different things. So it's just up to you to like grab all the opportunities and thrive, I guess.
I like that. So before you go, I have to ask, how old are you?
How old am I?
Yes.
Right now I'm 23. Yeah, I clocked 23 in December. 23
years old. Wow, man, Ofure, I wish you the very, very best, man. Just keep doing us proud. Keep doing yourself proud.
I also never learned how to calculate CGPA. But in my case, I didn't need to know.
Oh, See flex. Oh my God, I like that. I like that. You, oh God, see flex. Beautiful. I like that, man. You never had, oh man.